say, darling, cause you're faking. Don't hide the tears, cause I know you're breaking. All this love and all this pain you've given. All this love and all this pain, you bring them from another world.
Another tear just burst from the side of your eye. And I know what you're saying, and I know what your thoughts can lie. All this world, damn lie. All this pain in those fine eyes. All this love and all this pain you've given. All this love and all this pain, you bring them from another world.
Now the summer lies on my doorstep, and outside there's a light and it's getting bigger, and you know it. All this love, damn lie. All this pain and those fine eyes. All this love and all this pain you've given. All this love and all this pain, you bring them from another world. All this love and all this pain you've given. All this love and all this pain, you bring them from another world.
I just want a little dedication to show them we're not better off alone. I like to think that history is right or wrong, 'cause we are the writers of this future classic song. Yeah. was a miracle in my world of confusion. Oh, I fell in an instant, took but moments to see that she was all I need. Eyes shining like noonday sun to bring some light when this world didn't have none. Oh, I fell in an instant, took but moments to see that she was all I need. Oh, yes, I fell in an instant, took but moments to see that she was all I need. Yes, she was all I need. That smile was a miracle. that you just walk on by, never even said hi. No, no. We would never know just how hard it feels to open up hearts, to have to let it go. But we can't turn back now, 'cause we've come too far to not leave with broken hearts. I guess something inside my soul just couldn't stand to let you walk away so easily. No, no. And maybe in time we can figure out just what these moments are all about. All we guaranteed is a little change. Oh, I don't want my heart to feel this way again. And I just need a little more time to make sure what we're doing is right. I just need a little more time to make sure that we're doing this right. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I figured that I'd stop by just one more time and let you know what's really on my mind. Oh yeah, we both got a lot to say, but the words escape. It never seems to be an easy way. No, no. I hope and pray we at least get just one more dance. We decide to give this love a chance. 'Cause we got enough to try. We just need a little more time. Make sure we get it right. Oh yeah, yeah. And maybe in time we can figure out just what these moments are all about. All we guaranteed is a little change. Oh, I don't want my heart to feel this way again.